Thank you, Peter. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here at the end of a long week of IAAPA and all of those parties last night. I know we're all exhausted. Thank you for getting up early to come and be a part of this. In the mid-1950s, the first Imagineers had enthusiasm, but beyond that, no bloody idea what in the hell they were doing. Nobody knew what a Disneyland was or what it could become. Nobody had ever seen a Tomorrowland or an Adventureland or a Fantasyland. There were no audio animatronics and no places to buy parts for them. Hell, there wasn't a word for audio animatronics, and for that matter, there wasn't a word for Imagineering. No technical tools, no formats, no public expectations. Those first Imagineers were making it up as they went, using whatever parts they could find, cobbled together from other industries, from film, theater, animation, puppet shows, assembly lines, aerospace, and elsewhere. Does that sound familiar? Because like those original Imagineers, you are today's pioneers. You are inventing the curriculum and training that is preparing tomorrow's creators who will lead us forward into the second half of the 21st century. What an amazing, daunting task. Thank you for undertaking it. And if from time to time, as you invent the tools and curriculum, if you occasionally wonder if you're on the right path, well, then you have something in common with the giants who came before us and who gave definition to this industry. Like them, you are inventing the foundations of what will hereinafter shape this so recently invented craft, science, and art. A student in one of your classes today, one of those students, if they have a career like mine and they're still active at my age, they will be giving a keynote address like this one in the year 2078. So what are all of us giving that kid right now so that he or she will be able to complete that journey? How can you begin to know today what they're going to need in 2030, 2040, 2050, or beyond? That is a pretty awesome undertaking. Well, I've been thinking about that a lot because I'm in the middle of trying to write a book about how I do what it is that I've been doing for the last 40 years. And I hope to be able to share that book with you a year from today. Meanwhile, if any of you have even the slightest bit of advice about what to write or what publisher to use or anything else, please come see me today. I'd love to hear it because trying to explain and teach what I've been doing confidently for over 50 years turns out to be a very humbling experience. As you well know, until you try to teach something, you don't really understand it. Writing this book has given me a great deal of appreciation for the task that all of you face daily. So far, I don't have all that many answers, but so far I think I have an idea of how to frame the question. It starts with a quote from Henry David Thoreau, which goes, "Do not tell me what is new, tell me what is never old." What is true today that will always be true? Well, it sure as hell isn't technology. When I was still in film school, I ghost wrote what became the very first textbook on cinematography. A totally updated edition is still in print today. The day the first edition was published, that was 1973, I was totally up to date and knowledgeable about every piece of equipment that a cinematographer might use in a modern motion picture studio. Every camera, every light, every film stock, every light meter. Just 25 years later, out of all those thousands of pieces of equipment, almost every piece of technology that I'd learned and wrote about had become totally obsolete. And today, 50 years later, the only things still in use are the C-stand and the Apple box. Think about what that implies as you prepare today's students for tomorrow's themed entertainment. Certainly, we have to teach this. Certainly, we must teach them about the technology that they will be initially using. But at the same time, we know that the technology of every age is always in the checkout line, and usually the express line. So, what should we teach? What are the things that will never get old? Well, Parents and grandparents will seek experiences they can share with their children. Pretty obvious. Boys and girls will get together, and preferably in a place where their parents are not. People of all ages enjoy having an adventure in which they are not just observing the hero, but which they are the hero. And of course, we all love the adrenaline rush delivered by a convincing illusion of a near-death experience. Another thing that's never old is hospitality. It is both a craft and an art. The themes, IPs, and visual styles of hotels, resorts, spas, restaurants will evolve, but people will still want to be cared for, served, and made to feel important and appreciated. So whatever we're teaching about hospitality and guest service is certainly never wasted. Rather, it is a fundamental foundation of everything in our industry. I learned that on my first job in this industry as a magician in the magic shop at Disneyland. There, it was my job it was the perfect introduction to show business. It was my job to demonstrate the trick, that was the show part, and then while the guest was still dazed and amazed, drag them over to the cash register and sell them the trick. That was the business part, get it, show business. The problem was that any brat could buy the damn trick, go read the instructions, and come back and expose me while I was performing it in front of the next group. Well, one day in the magic shop, I was complaining about this to one of the senior magicians. And he stopped me and he said, "Wait a minute, Bob, you've got this all wrong." And he gave me one of the best pieces of advice I have ever received. He said, "We are not the magic temple. We are the magic shop. People don't come here to admire how magical you are. They come here hoping that you will help them find some magic in themselves." Boy, that advice applies to every aspect of our industry, from theme parks to museums, zoos, brand experiences, the core idea of all hospitality, whether you are a magic shop or a restaurant. It's the essence of salesmanship. The guest is the star. Our objective is not to be magical, but to make our guests feel magical. So what else never gets old? Well, from a storyteller's point of view, the thing that never gets old is the human heart. Story themes and styles will come and go forever, but the dramatic structures and techniques that provoke strong emotional engagement will continue to be a part of our industry. Joy, heart, reassurance, wonder, and magic make the guests feel great about themselves, each other, and the future. That's what they want from us. That's real magic. That's something that will still be true tomorrow and true 2 centuries from now. Do not tell me what is new. Tell me what is never old. Well, actually, please tell me both. When you look out at the IAAPA trade floor and feel the overwhelming scale, variety, creativity, and genius of all of the offerings, it might be tempting to wonder what challenges, discoveries, and opportunities are left for our students. Well, as proud as we might be of the accomplishments of this industry to date, we still have an awful lot of unsolved problems, challenges, and promising opportunities. An old-time entertainer once said, "You ain't seen nothing yet." And every day you are talking to the people who will one day answer these exciting challenges and opportunities waiting for a Harry Potter to apply a little magic. So today I'd like to talk about 9 challenges and opportunities that I've been thinking about. I'm sure you're all aware of these things the same as I am, but it's kind of exciting to look at them as a group. These challenges and opportunities are out there just waiting for your students to solve them. Here are the 9. Number 1, artificial intelligence is both an exciting opportunity and a terrifying threat. Right now, some all-new jobs are being created, while some established jobs are being eliminated or changed beyond recognition. Your students will need to tame and ride this tiger or be eaten by it. Number 2, secondary markets. One of my mentors was Buzz Price. He was the economic feasibility pioneer who told Walt where to locate Disneyland and where to put Disney World. Toward the end of his life, Buzz pondered that we have developed all of the great mega markets, such as Southern California, Central Florida, Tokyo, and others. What remains are the secondary markets, too small to support a megapark, but what can they support? And what can they support sustainably? Well, today our industry is grappling with that question, trying things. Some of those things will succeed, some will fail, but one of your students might be the one to master this and make a fortune. Number 3, sculptable digital screens. I know that you're aware of this also, but today, around the world in secret laboratories, we are learning how to bend and sculpt television screens. Not tomorrow and not next year, but soon enough we will be able to sculpt digital image forming surfaces into any complex compound oddball shape we want, including faces, sculpture, scenery, props, even costumes. The surface of anything, no matter how oddly bent or sculpted, can be coated with a TV screen. What will your students do with that? Which skills will that obsolete? And in addition to that, what other new wonders are being cooked up in laboratories all over the world and will soon become possible? Your students will one day have these and other incredible tools and toys. Number 4, climate change. Except for the loss of a few mature trees, our Orlando parks survived the recent hurricanes this time. But knowing today how much worse it could have been for our parks and for our guests, and knowing how much worse it could become with the advancing climate change, I mean, think about all the damage that was never supposed to happen in the central parts of the southern U.S. that happened just recently. How should we shape our future designs so that they are better protected from damage and from operational disruption? Should we be master planning parks that are half indoor and half outdoor? Are the Chimelong spaceship in China and the indoor theme parks of Abu Dhabi a model for the future? Number 5, commoditization. How will we deal with the constant commoditization of our art? When I started, if you could so much as spell Imagineer, you were considered a wizard. But today, we are too often reduced to a commodity, no more valued than a journeyman plumber. To a certain extent, we are doing this to ourselves. I sometimes worry that organizations like IAAPA are teaching us all to be like our competitors, making us all more like each other rather than more original. Also, less unique and therefore less valuable. How do we steer clear of the pressure to be like everyone else? How do we strive for original work? Well, certainly not by copying one another and not by replicating what's already working elsewhere. I'll give you what I think is an encouraging example. In 1978, a bunch of crazy French people in a remote village in the French countryside, a significant distance from everywhere, opened their own theme park. They had a big advantage. They had no bloody idea what the hell they were doing. They didn't know what a theme park was or should be. They'd never been to IAAPA. There was no TEA back then to join. There were no how-to books. They were on their own in the middle of nowhere, kind of like you, like the original Imagineers. They were figuring it out on their own. As a result, Puy de Fou became the most stunningly original, astonishing, daring, and truly wonderful theme parks in the world. And all because they didn't know what they were doing. They made it original. If you have never been to Puy de Fou, you owe yourself a tax-deductible trip to Western France. Meanwhile, how do we prepare tomorrow's creative leaders to be more original and resist the gravity well of replication? Number 6, new metrics. It's time for some new metrics. Remember the film and book Moneyball, which challenged the metrics traditionally used to value baseball players? Well, in our industry, we way over-rely on real estate metrics, like the cost per square foot, as if we were selling carpet instead of experiences. Our current metrics often fail to put enough value on effectiveness, originality, quality, impact, brand sustainability, or even profitability. Which of your students will solve that one? and give us some new, more meaningful metrics that measure and guide us toward experiences that our guests value rather than toward the lowest common denominator. Number 7, shopping malls. We still have more built shopping mall space than we need. What can be done there? That's a huge opportunity. And they're trying things, but most developers still think that themed entertainment is like some kind of aerosol spray that they can walk down the center of the mall spraying into the air and it'll suddenly cause their dying paradigm to come back to life. That's not it. But when the malls finally do figure it out, what's that going to do for themed entertainment? And how is that going to impact the established parks? Number 8, mobile phones. We make our money by charging admission to places. One of the great, still incompletely solved puzzles of our industry is how the virtual world we carry in our pockets can be merged with the physical lands that our industry creates and charges admission to. I recently read where an 18-year-old girl had written, "The objective of themed entertainment should be to take me to a place I can't otherwise go and so overwhelm and charm me that I forget that I have a phone in my pocket." Or does the answer lie in the complete opposite direction, causing the user's phone to become the magic wand that guides them through the places that we create, giving those places added life, animation, and interest? Or maybe both of those directions. But of all the opportunities out there, the 9th one stands above all the others. If you remember only one thing from my talk today, please remember this. Challenge number 9 is not just an opportunity, it is a higher calling. Today we live in a divided world and a divided nation. Our algorithms are very good at dividing us. We desperately need things that bring us together. What can our industry and our students do about this? Well, because right at this moment, our industry is actually going in the complete opposite direction. Today, there remain only 3 mass media that bring people together from every different belief and every economic background. The first 2 are music and sports. Where else but at a music or sporting event can you see people high-fiving each other, strangers high-fiving each other, and not caring a damn or asking who the other voted for 2 weeks ago? Everyone still has reasonable access to music and sports. But over the last 2 decades, our theme parks are becoming elitist, restricted to the upper middle class and the wealthy. They are excluding the middle class that Walt Disney was trying so hard to serve. It's not just inflation. We've all seen studies about how inflation has hit theme park admission tickets. Here today with us is Joe Pine, the author of The Experience Economy. His recent article in the Wall Street Journal about how theme park admission prices have gone up 2.3 times faster than the CPI. All very true. But I'm coming at this from a different angle. Hours worked. In 1956, a few months after Disneyland opened, you could buy admission to the park and a 10-ride ticket book for $3. In today's dollars, that's $116. But consider the difference in hours worked. In 1956, the minimum wage was $1 per hour, so a California family of 4, supported by one medium wage earner in 1956, could get the whole family into Disneyland and give each one a 10-ride ticket book for a total of $10 or maybe just a little less. At the 1956 minimum wage, that was 10 hours. So just over 1 day of work bought 1 day at Disneyland. Today, that California family of 4 would have to pay around $651 for parking plus 4 one-day admission to just one park, which at today's higher California minimum wage of $16 an hour, fast food workers do get a little more. But that means that mom or dad needs to work 40.5 hours. That's just over 1 week of work to take their family to Disneyland. It's changed from just over 1 day of work in 1956 to just over 1 week of work today. That's far beyond inflation. This cost effectively excludes families making minimum wage. So, okay, throw those people out. They're out. Never mind minimum wage earners. Now let's move to average wage earners in the United States, the middle of the middle class. The most recently available current national average U.S. salary is $59,384. After taxes, that would leave about $50,000 spendable. For Southern California families making that average national salary, admission to Disneyland has gone from 10 hours in 1956 to just over 27 hours. So from 1 day, just over 1 day, it's now 3.5 days. These are numbers for a Southern California resident going to Disneyland, so they don't require an overnight stay. Oh boy, when you look at Florida, you have the added travel costs. So take a hypothetical family of 4 living in Ohio. They're taking a 6-day trip to Disney World. They have to do it in July when the school is out. So just one person's 4-day park hopper ticket for one person, that's going to be $746 each. So 4 park hoppers for the family of 4, it's going to be $2,985.20 just for the admission tickets. But they're also going to need airfare for 4 people, plus probably 2 hotel rooms. You know, if you got 2 kids, 1 boy, 1 girl, you're going to have a girl room and a boy room. Plus meals, plus ground transportation, some minimal souvenirs. I would encourage each of you to do your own cost estimate on that. See what you come up with. I did it several ways and came up with a total vacation cost between $6,000 and $9,500. That Ohio family making the average U.S. annual wage cannot afford to spend 12 to almost 20% of their annual after-tax earnings for a week in Disney World. This effectively locks out the average wage earner and the middle, which is the middle of the middle class. Even for the upper middle class, this would be between 6 and 8% of their annual after-tax income. Bottom line, our parks are becoming exclusive clubs reserved for the wealthy and the very top of the upper middle class. That's a problem. But at the same time, we can only empathize with the parks. After all, the parks are being overrun by people who are willing to pay those high prices. Traditional business theory says that if you're being overcrowded, you raise the rates until the crowd either equals capacity or is just under it. Well, it seems like every time Disney or Universal raise their rates, the people keep paying it. So what are Universal and Disney supposed to do? And those guests that are paying that those extra costs demand always more sophisticated and more expensive attractions, all of which have to be recovered from the wallets of the guests that are demanding them. As a result, the parks are frequently so overcrowded that the guest experience, not to mention the employees' experience, are borderline unpleasant, especially for that family that saved all year to get there, and more especially as they watch the wealthier families who could afford the express tickets go right past them using a shorter line reserved for the wealthy. Instead of bringing us together, such a system divides us with constant reminders of our relative economic status or with simple exclusion. As you look out into the students in your classroom or your Zoom screen, this is their problem to solve because our generation didn't solve it. And it's an important problem to solve. With new economic models and with the new stories that they tell, theme parks and themed entertainment have a unique ability to bring us all together in a comfortable, positive space where we can celebrate the dreams, ideals, and values that we share in common, something we need more today than ever before. Just inside the gates of Disneyland in California, at the bottom of the flagpole, Walt left us all an instruction manual for times like these. If we ever get lost, here is the ideal we should all strive for at every project. You know it well. Many of you can recite it from memory. And best of all, it is never old. To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land. Here age relives fond memories of the past. Here youth may savor the challenge and promise of the future. Disneyland is dedicated to the ideals, the dreams, and the hard facts which have created America, with the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to the world. Walt Disney, plaque dedicated July 17th, 1955, Town Square, Main Street, USA, Disneyland. Disneyland is your land, everybody, and it's supposed to be a source of joy and inspiration to the world, not just rich folks, and not a reminder of the differing economic status or any of the other things that might separate us, dedicated to the ideals and dreams we all share. Today, those same ideals inspire each of us, whether we are Disney, Universal, Merlin, Herschend, Knott's, Cedar Fair, Six Flags, Europa Park, Efteling, Puy de Fou, Liseberg, Chimelong, all of the great parks and attractions. With new economic models and with the stories we tell, how can we use our craft and skills to reach that higher calling, to bring our nation and our world together by celebrating the hopes, dreams, and values that we all share, bringing out the best in people? That might be our industry's highest calling, and yours. They are in your classrooms today. Tomorrow's talents who, with your help and guidance, will one day answer these and many other challenges, puzzles, and opportunities that lie ahead. Prepare them well for the work they will be doing, and therefore the work you are doing now is important, not just to our industry, but to the world. For this, the industry thanks you, and I thank you. Keep up the great work.